Well, as we prepare for the arrival of what is now Tropical Storm Debby, potentially will be Hurricane Debby come Monday morning, we have a little outlook for your day on Sunday. So we'll start off the day partly cloudy, so it'll be pretty nice weather to start your Sunday out there before those outer bands start arriving into our area, first in the Big Bend, then our southern Georgia counties during the afternoon time frame. After sunset, that's when I expect conditions to start going downhill, and that's when we want to be sheltered in place. That's when we want to find a place, stay there, and have all our preparations done. And you can see Debby right now has really started to show signs of life the past couple of hours. That thunderstorm activity developing right near that center. We see a couple lightning strikes there as well. That's indicative of a strengthening system, which is why we now have a tropical storm. And this is a pretty large circulation right now, and it's a lot of moisture that it's dealing with. We do see this dry air, though, up in the northwestern portion of our area, and what that's going to do, that has the chance of infiltrating the storm as it gets a little closer to landfall. So that's one of the factors that may help limit its intensification. However, we do expect some pretty steady intensification because of how warm the sea surface temperatures are. 80 degrees is typically the limit, you say, to how a tropical storm, if that can develop and strengthen or not. Well, we're in the upper 80s, so more than enough fuel to get this storm to develop and strengthen. And then we look at the track, relatively low wind shear is coming into play, so that'll also allow the storm to breathe a little bit more and help allow it to strengthen. So there's a lot of factors going into why the system is going to strengthen, and that is why we even have tropical storm watches as far north as our southernmost Georgia counties. That includes Lowndes County and Valdosta, even towards Decatur County with Bainbridge. That means 39-mile-per-hour sustained winds are possible over the next 48 hours, along with a hurricane watch for coastal Franklin County, where winds of 74 miles per hour or higher are possible over the next 48 hours. The warnings, though, show a little bit more confidence in those winds being attained, with Leon County seeing a tropical storm warning in effect for the next 36 hours. Within the next 36 hours, I should say, winds of at least 39 miles per hour or greater are possible and should be expected somewhere within Leon County. And then hurricane warning, including that is Jefferson, Madison, Taylor, and Lafayette counties, and also coastal Wakulla County, where we could see winds in excess of 74 miles per hour or greater somewhere within this area as the storm approaches late Sunday into early Monday. And as that storm approaches as well, it's going to push some water ashore, specifically in the eastern portions of the Big Bend. That's why Taylor and Jefferson County have the potential to see 4 to 7 feet of storm surge above normally dry ground if this system causes peak surge at a high tide. So this is essentially a worst case scenario kind of forecast. Franklin and Wakulla counties also seeing 3 to 5 feet of storm surge possible if that peak surge happens at high tide. How much rainfall are we expecting across the area? I expect areas, to the west of Tallahassee, probably 1 to 3 inches. It'll be pretty manageable out there, but as we head towards Tallahassee and then towards the east, we could see upwards of 3 to 6 plus inches of rain. Localized areas a little bit more. This model showing quite a bit of rainfall for Clinch County. Some localized areas could see up to a foot, but that would be very localized in nature. Now, in terms of arrival of tropical storm force winds, we are going to see them come northwards over the day tomorrow. By tomorrow evening, let's say around 8 p.m., that's when I want to have all of our preparations done and find a place to stay put for the time being, because that's when we'll start to see those tropical storm force winds arrive along the Big Bend coastline, and then conditions will continue to deteriorate from there on. Here is one model interpretation of what this system will look like as we head into the day tomorrow. Already seeing some of those outer bands make their way on shore as we head into the early part of the afternoon. So that's something to keep in mind. We will start seeing that rain even in the early part of the afternoon tomorrow. And then what you need to know about Debby. We have that storm centered west of the Florida Keys right now. It's moving towards the northwest, and it will have some slow strengthening before some steady strengthening later in the day tomorrow. Rain squalls are expected, and we can't rule out the chance for some hurricane force winds. What you should do when we're talking about Debby, check those updates, prepare your home, make sure there's no objects out there that could fly around, gather supplies, and understand this is still uncertainty in the forecast. We don't know the exact track, and that could have big impacts on what the weather will look like in your neighborhood. But you don't want to panic. Not everyone's going to see significant impacts out of this, but also do not tune out the impacts, because significant impacts are likely for some people. Biggest thing I want to convey, don't compare this to a dahlia. There will be differences in the track, the size, and the speed of to the storm that will make this storm have different impacts for your neighborhood than we saw last August.